Hey everybody. Right, just quick rants here about how our brain works, how our mind works, and before you stop watching this, before you change the channel, um, just look. I want you guys, everyone out there, to realize that this is so critical. Learning how to use our brain or understanding how our life works, how everything works for us. It's all here. It's all here. Our entire experience is all happening here. Everything. Whether we are having a really hard time in life in general, if we're struggling through life, if we're going through a temporary difficult situation, whether it's a breakup, dealing with a loss, whatever it is, it's all happening here. And the type of experience that you are having right now depends on how this has been set up. And it's set up from birth. I would even argue that it's set up from as soon as you start developing in your mom's stomach. From, what is it, conception? Is that what it is? I think that every, experience that we have, even from when we're inside the womb, it's going to affect how our mind works and how our mind translates and interprets what is going on around us. And I think those are the key words there, is how we translate and how we interpret things that are going on around us. There have been cultures that have been very comfortable with death. Someone dies and it's just, oh, okay. If you look at animals, I'm not saying that we're animals, we're not the same as animals, but there are some similarities, you know. But lots of humans, have completely different ways of seeing and interpreting, and it's all based on how you've been raised, what your belief system is. And that's the key word there, belief system. All right? It's basically the way that your mind is set up to view the world and to interpret what's going on. Whether things are right or wrong, whether things are good or bad, is up to your belief system. And our belief system is very closely, in my opinion, dependent on our survival. Like, the point of it is to help us survive. And what does survival mean? It means keeping us alive, helping us reproduce. That's essentially what survival is. Protecting our species, helping our species grow. Now, why is this so important to you? You're thinking, look, I've just taken some time out of my day to watch this video, and I'm hoping that this video is going to help my life in some way. It is critical. This is critical stuff that we all need to be aware of from birth, from when we're little kids in school. Why? Because you've got to understand how your mind works. If you want to get through, difficult situations, if you want to become super powerful and successful, if you want to control and manage your happiness, if you want to stop being a victim and a slave to just your emotions and your thoughts, okay? And at the end of the day, it comes down to thoughts. Thoughts become beliefs. repetitive thoughts. So repetitive thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs, after a while, eventually become instinctual responses. So what I mean by that is, let's say that I am having a repetitive thought constantly, whatever it is. Let's say it's a negative thought, okay? And the thought is, I am shy around people, okay? Let's say you start to think that a lot. I'm shy around people. Gosh, why am I so shy around people? Gosh, don't like being around people. Man, I feel shy around people. Whatever, or shy around girls, or shy around men, or whatever. You repeat it, you repeat it. After a month or a couple months, it will start to become a belief. It's no longer a thought. You will start to believe that you are shy around people. You keep that belief for long enough, and it will become instinctual. What that means is you go out, as soon as there's people around, you're not even in control of it anymore. The adrenaline goes off, you become shy, there's fear associated, okay? And this works for anything. You can say, I am a funny person. And if you believe it and you keep thinking that thought in your head, I'm such a funny person, I'm such a funny person, I'm such a funny person. Then it will become a belief. Then you'll believe you're a funny person. And then it will become instinctual eventually, where you will just be delivering comedy and expecting people to think you're funny, which is going to help you be funny. Believe me, it's going to make you confident. All right, so just to wrap this up, okay, understand how your mind works, because basically your mind is like an engine. In fact, I like to think of it as this big bowl, like a snowball. The snow globes you can buy? It's like a snow globe, and it's just constantly just shaking and moving. And you can put stuff in there. It's almost like a pot, like a cooking pot. Like there's some basic stuff in there, and then depending on what you put in there, that's how our thinking works. So if you like most people are struggling with, I just can't have a clear mind. I can't clear my mind. I'm just always constantly thinking, overthinking. My thoughts have control over me. First thing I would like to say is like, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with overthinking. There's nothing wrong with thinking excessively. Okay, this is a myth also I see in the spiritual world a lot, that you have to stop thinking to be happy and at peace. No, it's okay. Think as much as you want. But we want to think of good things, right? Things that help us, that energize us, that enrich us, that lift us up, that uplift us, that make us feel powerful and fill us with vitality. So it's basically like, what ingredients are you putting into this pot? And you know what? It is difficult to control your thoughts. There are ways to do it, but it is difficult. But you know what is easier, much easier to control, is what's going into the pot, what's going into the mind. Because the mind's job is just to spin thoughts. All kinds of thoughts of the future, of the past, of the present. It's the job of the mind to just take all this data that's coming in your ears, in your mouth, the taste, your vision, things that you see every day, things that you hear, things that you read. All this stuff is pouring into your nose, into your eyes, into your ears, into your mouth. It's all pouring into your brain. And in your brain's job is just to be like, oh, here's more data. Here you go, here's a thought. Here's another thought. Here's a thought about the future. Here's some thoughts about the past. And this is what your brain does all day long. There's no way you're going to just stop it, okay? Because that's like stopping your heart. Your brain is there to do all this stuff for you. But you can decide what your brain has to work with. Most of us are giving our brain a lot of crap. We're giving our brain fear, negative thoughts, and your environment. We're in control of what goes into your mouth. Aren't you in control of what goes into your mouth? You can put good stuff into your mouth that makes you feel better. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You can control what's going in your ears. If you're going to listen to like stuff that brings you down, whether it's an annoying neighbor or annoying people or people that are bullying you or putting you down, or it could be anything. Think of how much stuff goes into your ears. It can be the news, it can be bad TV stations, it can be bad television, bad movies, bad music. It can be listening to bad podcasts, listening to bad people. When I say bad, it's just things that bring you down. So of course you've got to have some measure of, understanding of what is bad for you and what's good for you. And of course that's the first step, is knowing like what is good for you and what's bad for you. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail here, but just in short, the things that are good for you uplift you, energize you, make you feel positive, make you feel energized. Raise your energy levels up so that you want to live and to do things and to be creative. Okay? Things that bring you that are bad for you are the things that bring you down, that make you slow down, that make you want to be in bed all day, or just make you depressed or anxious or sad or angry. Yeah, so things that hold you down. So we are in control of what goes in our ears. We can control that. For a while, I was wearing earplugs when I would go out because of all the noise, the drills, the traffic, So I just put the earplugs in and protect what's going into my ears, because that stuff it's not good for me, at least. I prefer silence and peace and the sound of birds or nature. Those things energize me. But it's not just your ears, not just your mouth, it's also your eyes. What are you watching? Like, for example, all these videos that ISIS, this terrorist organization, of beheading and torturing people. There's a lot of people that they watch that stuff. I have cousins and family, that I remember when they were growing up, they were just fascinated with watching disgusting things. And there's a lot of people out there who do that. And it's almost like, how much can you take? That for them, it's like a game of like, oh, let me see if I can. And you'll watch horrific things like, look, once you watch something, you can't unwatch it. Your mind will be eternally imprinted with that. And, is it going to help you or is it going to hurt you? You're going to be the best judge of that. For me in my life, I've made a conscious decision that those things are not going to help me. Okay? So I try to focus my attention and my time on great things going into my ears, eyes, nose, mouth, and beyond. I've had enough crap that's gone into my system. So my cooking pot that I'm dealing with has got already some not good stuff in there. So I want to add plenty of good things until the balance in there is good. There's nothing wrong with watching horrific things or listening to bad music or listening to bad things or whatever, eating some bad stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be in check with how much good stuff is in your system. Balance, right? That's important. So, since a lot of people who watch my videos are going through breakups, I'll touch on a breakup thing. But look, if you're not going through a breakup, this applies to you as well. Yeah, when you go through something traumatic, like you're going through a breakup or whatever, the chances are that you're going to be spinning a lot of negative thoughts. I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. I'll never be happy again. I lost the love of my life. I mean, there is an endless list, and you're going to come up with them. You're going to even start to make up stuff. like my ex never loved me, or my ex is off with someone else, blah, blah, blah. It's not just breakups that trigger all of this sort of negative thinking. It's all sorts of stuff. It's, your friendships, your social groups, your work. So it's important to maintain the balance of what's in your head, okay? Because like I said, your mind's just going to spin and come up with thoughts based on what it's got to work with. So you're responsible for directing yourself towards things so that good stuff starts feeding into your mind. Good music, uplifting movies, uplifting people, uplifting food, uplifting experiences, uplifting hobbies, uplifting activities. All right? That's all you've got to do. And just try to improve that every day, little by little. And, the more you do that, your life just becomes better and better. Move away from the things that hold you down and keep you down. I understand for a lot of people it can be difficult. I mean, for me, I made a decision in my life that if I'm not going to be happy, healthy, then I'm going to hurt people around me. So my health and happiness and vitality and energy is the most critical thing in my life, because without it, I'm going to hurt people around me. But when I feel fulfilled, happy, full of vitality, then it's going to spill onto everybody around me, even my neighbors, even the people at my gym. They're going to be energized by my presence rather than drained by my lack, So I made the conscious decision that I'm going to remove the things and let go of things that no longer help me, uplift me, and keep me down. Even if it's my family, even if it's my best friends, even if it's friends I've had for decades. And I did it. I just went through the list of everything in my life, everything. And it's kind of like a garage sale. You're like, I had a keep it pile, a get rid of it pile, and a maybe pile. That's how I like to do things. So, and I did it for people. I did it for things like furniture I had in my house. I did it for everything in my life I could think of. My car, my pets, my hobbies, everything. Just scan down, list of everything. I'm like, this can go, it's not good for my life. This can go, this can go, this can go. And then I just kept the things that energize. And it's amazing how you can turn your life around. You can turn your life around simply by letting go of the things that hurt you or keep you down. You don't necessarily need to add positive things into your life, but simply just letting go of the negative things is enough. And that balance happens. If you have all this negativity and this much positivity in your life, get rid of the negativity, and then things become in balance. You feel alive again. You feel more in control again. You feel like you can breathe again. Yeah? And life becomes more fun. Yeah? Life doesn't have to be complicated or full of things to be more interesting. Life can be interesting and fun with less. Less things to do. It's nice to have some time to just do nothing sometimes. Like, oh, man, I've got time to kill, and then you can do whatever you want with it, and just enjoy peace and quiet. But for most of us, we feel like we need more, and it's because of competition. We look at other people and we're like, oh, look at what they have. I need that too. So this has been a rant about how our mind works. Remember, the mind will just do its thing, and you're responsible for what goes into the mind. Okay, so just feed the mind with good things. Just put it in there every day. Shovel more good stuff into the mind. And if you notice that there are some things in your life that kind of are pointless and they're just bringing you down, get rid of them. Be brave. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing forever, but just try it out. Get rid of them. There might be some people in your life, friends, even your family, that are just draining you, or just get rid of them, out. Or, some stuff that you have. Do a garage sale. Go on eBay or Craigslist and just give things away for free. You'll feel so good just getting rid of things. You'll feel lighter. Okay? Because believe it or not, a piece of furniture that you might have is actually taking up some space in your mind too, because it's not just out here in the material world. You also are aware of it mentally. So when you get rid of it in the material world, it's gone in your mind. And there's more space and stillness and peace in your mind. All right, everybody. Hope this helps. And if you have any questions, let me know. One thing I wanted to add is that, you see, there's a lot of people who realize these things that I'm talking about. And it's not just me. There's so many people who are teaching and so many good books and texts and teachings out there. But here's one thing that's interesting is people will realize this stuff and then expect that the simple realization will help them change. You don't realize that, okay, I'm aware now of how my mind works, and I am aware that it's my conditioned responses that are happening, that are very strong, the instinctual things, the belief systems that I was talking about earlier. So just simply becoming aware of it, in my opinion, is like a huge first step, but it's not enough, okay? Because when you become aware that, okay, so this is why I get angry, or this is why I get sad, this is why I get depressed. Once you realize why, then it's important. It's not like, now you're going to be healed. I realize it. Now everything's going to be fine. A lot of people, they have problems with this because they realize these things and then they expect that, okay, now that I realize it, I should be healed now. And then they're still struggling with anger, with sadness. And I'm like, but why? I know what presence is. I know what meditating is. Shouldn't I be healed now? No, because for years and years and years, your beliefs, your instincts, instinctual responses have become conditioned so that when this happens, boom, this happens. So when this irritation comes, you're just like, without, and sure, being aware helps, but hey, this is still a very strong pull and a very strong, if you get hurt, but you're aware of yourself and you're aware of why you get hurt, you're aware of everything, but still this energy of that anger or that depression or anxiety or emptiness is still so strong. Which is why it's important for us to know that once we become aware, that's when we have to start guiding our senses towards good input, because it's going to take time, but the more and more our mind gets full of good positive input, our belief systems will start to change. Our instinct will start to change. And then when this happens, this won't be this will be more of okay. And it will change. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope this little additional video I just recorded works. I've never kind of done this before, so let's see if I can merge it all together somehow.